So you're doing this Descattys. In this video I want to do an update. So yeah, I want to do an update on my Wolverine knife. So sit back for another exciting episode. So how's it going, folks? Alright, so I want to do a little video. I want to do just a quick kind of update really on my knife. Alright, as most of you know, there's sort of in a lot of my videos you see me using two types of knife. You'll either see me using my Nomad knife by Ben Alford, which is actually on my hip right now, which is the good old folder, which is that one. Okay, and then the second one, or first one I use, whatever, is the knife by the TBS Wolverine. Okay, and this is the sort of little update I want to do on this knife. Now it's not oh, this is the best bushcraft knife in the world and all that sort of stuff, because that's just, you know, that's poppycock as far as I'm concerned. All right, it's just, you know, any knife's as good as the owner, isn't it? You know, if you get used to using a kitchen knife or a butter knife, then that becomes your favourite knife and your best knife ever. So it isn't one of those. It literally is just to talk about an update of some of the changes that I've made to the knife with regards to, say, you know, the blade itself, and also the sheath that I had. So if we look at the overall sort of setup now that I've done now, if you're a sort of regular viewer to the channel, you would obviously see Tales from the Shed that I've done videos of like sheath mods and stuff like that. Now, when I actually purchased the TBS knife, it came, the choices that I had was either sort of like a traditional knife sheath, or like a Laplander type sheath where it could obviously be hung, or the option of attaching it to a belt. Now over time with using it, what happened was the actual one of the hangers that was actually attached to the sheath, the thread started to come away. If it meant for me trying to repair it myself, being a bit of a lazy bugger, it would have meant that I would have had to unstitch the whole sheath to replace that bit in the middle, and I couldn't be arsed. I really couldn't be bothered. So what I did in the meantime, because I was obviously planning on going on the hunter-gatherer course, I didn't really like the idea of, well, me doing game prep and stuff like that. I didn't like the idea of using the knife, and then, you know, if I hadn't cleaned it quite properly, of it ended up going into the knife sheath, either leather knife sheath, because I'll never get rid of those sort of particles and that get impregnated into the sheath. So the option that I went for was to go for a Kydex sheath. Okay, in good old faithful orange. I contacted Matt Self from Self-Made Knives and asked him if he would make me a sheath from Kydex. The only thing that I asked for him to do on top of it is, if you look at the bottom of the sheath there, okay, I can actually use it as a blowhole, excuse me, or obviously I've got the, you know, for sort of reigniting those embers on the fire. The sheath, as I say, yeah, I changed it because it's nice and easy. I can just drop that into water, and it's easier to rinse out than a leather one. A leather one, for me personally, I think takes a little bit more care. Looks a little bit more traditional, I suppose, using leather and all the rest of it, but I thought for a practical point of view, I thought a Kydex one would be better. Okay, so that's what I went for. And then obviously the additional things that I put on there was the, you know, the fire steel, the ferro rod hold. I've got Ranger bands on there, and then I've got some fire cordage. Alright, but going back to the knife itself, okay, it's been a lovely knife. It's been a good knife for me, so my lovely knife. I mean, you know, as I say, this isn't a video about, you know, my knife's the best knife, you know, whatever knife you use or whatever. What I'll do is I'll put a card up if you want to go and look at the first video when I actually purchased the knife, when I had it a few months, and then I showed it as a video. What I'll do is, as I say, I'll put a card up and you can go over and have a look at the first video if you like. The only adjustments that I've made to it really is that the spine on the back wasn't very kind of sharp to be able to take a ferro rod. Now, if you again, you're a follower to my channel, I'm not one that likes to use I'm not really one that likes to use the back of my knife. I'm more of a scraper person. But what I have done with actually this particular holder, I have actually left it with without a scraper on it. So I've got the option to obviously use the back of my knife in an emergency, okay, or if I was in that kind of situation where I needed to use the back of my knife for scraping ferro rod, or if I needed it to scrape some wood dust and stuff like that. So that's the only thing, the only adjustment really that I've made to it. It is this N695 steel. Now, you know, I'm not one that's up on steels. I'm not a metalworkist or anything like that, but I am partial to stainless. But this has also got carbon in it as well. Now, I've not struck flint against it or anything else to see what it's like, because I've got ferro rods and all the rest of it. If it was in a survival situation, then it will be, you know, that's when I'll find out whether or not that will take a spark, which I'll imagine it probably, you know, it'll produce a spark. So I imagine it probably will, but you know, that's really not my thing, and it, you know, that's a debate that other people can have. All right, so I'm pleased with it. I love it. You know, I've had it, as I say, for a number of years now. You know, you can see that it's been used. You see it in the videos being used quite a lot. I like to smash the crap out of my tools because that's what they're there for. Some people will argue that they don't like to batten wood with knives, but I will. I'll use an axe and I'll use a knife. So there it is. What else can I say about it? I mean, if you really want to go and look at the first video, that'll explain to you what the handle is, and, you know, obviously it's 4mm thick steel and all the rest of it. But that's it. I'm not going to sort of pro on too much about it. All that I'll say is it's a great little knife. It's served me well so far, some years in, and I hope it does continue that way. The reason why I always opt for, don't get me wrong, again, you know, it probably goes back to the idea of using, you know, of people wanting to have a leather sheath and so on and so forth, because it maybe looks a little bit more traditional, or it fits in with the woods and all the rest of it. But for me personally, I like to, you know, you might even see in some of my attire that I wear bright clothing, or I might wear a bright hat every now and again. You know, I mean, at the moment I'm wearing orange trousers. You know, I've got green footwear on. You get the picture. But when it comes to knives, even whistles, I'd never get my head around it. If you're going to blow a whistle in a, you know, if you're looking for a whistle, if it isn't attached to a piece of paracord or something like that, and you're searching around for a whistle, to me it should be a bright colour, because you're kind of then in that, you know, that situation where you know, it's all well and good when you're sitting at home in your armchair, or, you know, or if you're out sitting just comfortable around a fire and you're saying, oh yeah, what I've got and what I'm going to use. But when that situation becomes real, where it becomes live, and it could be a potential life or death matter, all right, to me it makes sense to have a whistle that's brightly coloured, where on life jackets, for example, a lot of them are orange. Yeah, stands to reason. I've got a whistle, a fox whistle, and it's light green. Okay, they do them in black, and a lot of people use black ones, but maybe in the military or something like that, they have their place in a tactical environment. But for me, in a civilian kind of situation, you know, sort of scenario like this, I would assume that it might make more sense to have sort of you know, sort of brightly coloured stuff, which leads me on to the orange handle. All right, now the reason why I have orange handle and all the rest of it is if I drop it on the floor, okay, there you go, you can see it, and it's a little bit easier to see than like something that's curly birch or walnut or something like that. Okay, but I'm not, you know, I'm not, it's just because I'm a simple person, I like to keep things simple. Okay, so that's why it's an orange handle. The old eyes are not getting too great, having to wear glasses now, so when you start to get to my age, you have to be careful of what you look at on the floor. You could lose your knife. I don't know why I've just taken on that sort of accent, but anyway, there it is. But yeah, there it is, folks. All right, so that's the, you know, that's the Wolverine.